Hello and welcome back to another edition of Prodigy Talks. I'm Rob Lawrence and we're coming to you from the Pinnacle EMS Conference 2024 in amazing Marco Island, Florida. Here with esteemed author Donnie Woodyard Jr. Donnie, you've written some amazing books for us to pretty much explain something that many people, even in this country, puzzle over, and that's like the organization of EMS in the United States. What compelled you to try and, solve the puzzle for us?
Oh boy, it actually goes back to a little over 10, 11 years ago. And I became the state EMS director in Louisiana. And I'd been a paramedic for a number of years. I'd been a paramedic instructor. I'd been an EMS chief. I'd done all kinds of roles in EMS. But I stepped into the state role and all of a sudden I realized, wow, there's a lot I don't know. I don't understand. There's all these acronyms and all these organizations, and they all kind of fit into the regulation of EMS and this kind of fractured system that we have that's carefully held together by some invisible matter that I couldn't understand. And so I said, man, someone's got to write this down. The other thing is I had contacts with people, literally the founders of our profession, that I could call on the phone. In the time since, they've retired, some of them have died and passed away, and I started realizing, man, we're losing this framework. And finally, after about 7 years of that, of saying someone should write it down, people said, well, it's probably you. You should write it down. And so I started on this project, and it took many, many years of research. And finally, I got to this point where I had a manuscript that kind of got developed, and I realized, wow, I've got a 500-page book. What do I do with that? So that's the history.
Is the organization of EMS in the United States of America overcomplicated, complex, difficult to understand, or is it just me?
The title of the book is, Fragmented Past and Future of Opportunity as the subtitle. So it is complicated, and it really kind of goes back to some of the origins and, great intentions. And then we had, changes in both politics and funding and a system that, was just at that critical stage of developing as a true system. And then it kind of fragmented apart. So we had local heroes that came out that did a yeoman job. They did great, the local hero, but that really explains how we have so much individuality and this kind of semi-fragmented approach with a lot of pride. That's actually become part of our fabric. That's very important. It has its own challenges, though. Yeah.
So we're at Pinnacle. Obviously, we're discussing, the future.
Yeah.
You've spent a lot of time describing in your book what it is and obviously where we need to go. So simple question. Where do we need to go? What do we need to do?
Well, I think that's a pivot to even the latest book that really kind of talks about the future of EMS. And we have technology and AI and innovation. And I really think that as an industry, we have an obligation as industry leaders to understand the technology, understand how AI is going to, really intersect with this, and then embrace that, lead that in an ethical, responsible way. The role of AI in the future of healthcare, we already see that integrated from everything from charting through radiology diagnostics, through chat box when you have a question to your primary care doctor. It's being implemented. Now, the question is in EMS, how can we do that in our profession in a way that moves us forward, that we as leaders control, and that is what I would call a practitioner first model. So how do we leverage AI to make our EMS clinicians better clinicians, but keep them at the forefront?
What's the one thing that we could do with AI right now that's going to make a major difference in EMS?
Wow, I think the low-hanging fruit is the complete change of how we do documentation. And so we already see physicians have embraced this. The large hospital-based health records have embraced this. And that is the days of me sitting down and just manually typing out reports and doing drop-downs. That really should be a thing of the past. It's time intensive.
I'm sure every paramedic in the world agrees with you, by the way.
Absolutely. It's time intensive. It takes time, not only time, but it's frustrating. And we have the opportunity for an error. I've been a paramedic now 30 years. How many times have I accidentally selected from a drop down? This is what it is. And then I documented something different, but I chose the wrong thing. Now I've got a conflict. AI can change that. You can literally listen to your patient care. And then out of that listening, it can document the report, choose your drop downs, put it in the format that your agency wants. The time saving for an individual paramedic by leveraging AI for documentation could be measured in 30 minutes or more per patient encounter. It reduces frustration, it provides more accurate reports, and it gets you back freed up on the street so you can do patient care. So I think that's the first thing we can embrace. Dispatch is another huge opportunity. Real-time feedback when you're a single paramedic or EMT taking care of a patient and you're multitasking 3 different things. We have AI engines out there that could actually be prompting you, hey, I just saw a subtle change in the vital sign. I just saw this. By the way, this is something that was potentially missed in your protocol. So I think we can leverage technology to make us more efficient, reduce our liability, and make us better clinicians.
Of course, in the wider world, people are concerned that AI is going to take jobs away. But in our role, we still need the Mark I human being to be in front of this.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why it's going to be a provider-first approach. We need that person right there. But as an example, we know in Europe right now, VW has a concept driverless ambulance. And it's an ambulance with no driver. And we know that here in the US, we have companies like Waymo, which is a Google company, that have driverless taxi cabs. So it's only a short jump till we get to potentially driverless ambulances here in the US. So how does that change our staffing models? How does that change our regulation? But more importantly, how as an industry do we own and control and implement that so that someone else doesn't come and blindside our industry and change our model for us?
That's certainly food for thought. How can we get hold of, visit, find your books, Donnie?
Yeah, so they're available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So the first one is EMS in the United States, Fragmented Past, Future of Opportunity. And the second one is The Future of Emergency Medical Services, artificial intelligence, AI, technology, and innovation. And so you can find those on those platforms. The other thing I would say is, both of these are done as a resource model. So there's a lot of resources that are out there on the websites for the books and ems.ai. And it provides every resource document I mentioned in the book is there free of charge, because we want people to be educated about this. We want our leaders to understand it and make informed decisions leading the profession.
Great, wonderful. Well, Donnie's books are available on Amazon. Thank you very much for talking about those. I hope you get them. I hope you read them. I hope you review them. And obviously, there's clearly some suggested actions and a little bit of a crystal ball into the future, I suspect.
A little bit.
So, Donnie, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I've been Rob Lawrence. Don't forget, you can find out more from us at prodigyems.com. For the moment, I've been Rob Lawrence. Back to you.